Problem number 8 from the H10-7 homework. It asks us to find the sum from the first term to the fifth term of the series described by the rule 256 times 1/2 to the power of n. So let's get an idea of what our series looks like so we can kind of have an idea if our sum that we get is correct or not. So let's see here. Let's do our first term would be like saying 256 times 1/2 to the first power. So half of 256 is 128. So our first term is 128. Second term there, right, would be like 256 times 1/2 to the second power. So that's like 1/4 times 256, which is just going to end up being half of the number that we've got right now, right? 128, half of that is 64, right? And then the next number after that should be half of 64, which would be 32. Half of that is 16, and then half of that would be 8. There's our 5 terms that are in this series. And yes, you could just find the sum by adding all those together. I just wanted you to see an example here where things are getting smaller. So let's take this here and identify what we know. We know the first term, which is 128. We know the multiplier is 1/2. And we know the number of terms in this case would be 5. Right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's take it and plug it into our formula. The sum of the first 5 terms is going to equal our first term, 128, times 1/2 raised to the 5th power. And you could probably tell me what the next term is going to be, right? If we think about it here, what would come next in this pattern? You know, if we're cutting each of these in half, it should be 4, right? So this right here should end up equaling 4 when we do it. Now, when we go through here, right, we're still going to subtract 128. That's our first term. And then we're going to do our multiplier, 1/2 minus 1. So 128 times 1/2 to the 5th should end up being 4. And if you need to double check here, just do it, right? 128 times, I'm just going to put 0.5. We're going to raise that to the 5th power. You'll see that that is 4, okay? So just a shorter way to do it if you just look at the pattern that's going on. Minus 128 over 1/2 minus 1 would be a negative 1/2. So 4 minus 128 is going to be negative 124. And then we're going to divide that by a negative 1/2, which we know is like multiplying by a negative 2. So our answer we get here should be a positive 248. So that's the sum of our 5 terms. If you're not sure if that's right, go through and you can add all of those together and it'll equal 248. All right, that's problem number 8 from the H10-7 homework.